put this information in here. Let me pause this.
Yeah.
Okay, man. Let me turn this down and play this real quick. Yeah, we need to have a conversation here, man. It's starting to drive me crazy. Let's skip this. Boom. Wait till some people jump on, man. And let's have a conversation because I'm just not understanding all of these pound for pound rankings. And why nobody's putting why Devin Haney keeps falling a little bit short. You know what I'm saying? So let's see if we can get some people on here, man, and start having a conversation because it really blows my mind that Devin Haney gets no love at all. It's actually kind of crazy. So what is it? 10:20? We'll see who jumps on here. What was I about to pull up? Oh yeah. You know, I'm always pulling up my little boxing rankings, man. So let's see when people jump on. But the bottom line, you know, I start talking, I don't have time to wait. The bottom line is, I can't understand why Devin Haney just gets absolutely no love. You know what I mean? Like, it just really blows my mind that Devin Haney gets treated the way he gets treated. I just don't understand. You look at this man and his situation at 135 pounds, and you guys want me to believe that when you start looking at some of these, like the Ring magazines, pound for pound listing, y'all want me to believe that they're going to have someone like Gervonta Davis at number 10, right? Which I think he's on his way. You got Jermell Charlo on there. Jermell Charlo definitely deserves to be listed as pound for pound in the top 10. And then they have him ranked at number 9. That is crazy. They have Josh Taylor on this list, okay, at number 8. Now, Josh Taylor is a bad boy, but I'm not so sure Josh Taylor should be above Jermell Charlo, okay? You got Vasily Lomachenko still holding tight at number 7. You know, what are we going to do with Lomachenko? We understand Lomachenko was a monster, especially when he was, I'm going to say, in his prime. But to have him at number 7 on the list, I'm not sure I agree with that. Then you got Bivol on here at number 6. Bivol is no joke. But let me tell you how ridiculous the listing is, right? Let me see if I can show you this. Let me see if I can show you this, right? Because it's absolutely crazy to me. All right, here we go. You tell me, right? How in the world is Canelo Alvarez above Dimitri Bivol right now? I know Alvarez is undisputed at 168, but Bivol shut him down. He absolutely spanked him. So what are they factoring in as far as Canelo Alvarez being in the number 5 spot above Dimitri Bivol? Are they looking at his all the work that he's done? They're looking at his entire portfolio? But in my opinion, if there's an athlete on here who's clipped somebody and they're still undefeated, and you look at Bivol's situation, he is trying to get the Bertabiev fight, but damn, man, they're making it impossible for this man to get in the ring with Bertabiev, right? All I'm saying is, I don't think Bivol should be underneath Canelo Alvarez. But if you're looking at, the all the legwork that Canelo Alvarez put in, you know what I'm saying? Then I can understand. But then again, like I said, Canelo Alvarez is kind of on the decline, but he still deserves to be in the top 10. But I'm just not sure he should be above Bivol. Then you have Earl Spence, and we get it. Even though he's not as active as we like, Earl Spence is still plugging along. He's done some great work, and he's shown, for the most part, anyone you put him in the ring with, it's kind of hard to go against Earl Spence. Then Terrence Crawford, kind of the same thing. Terrence Crawford being above Earl Spence, some people don't agree with that, but I think you got to really understand Terrence Crawford, bubbling up through those weight classes. I mean, that matters. Being undisputed and now having the belt at 147 and looking to get into a fight with Earl Spence for the undisputed distinction. I mean, that matters. Then you got Inoue and just how he's out here destroying opponents. And he has a huge fight coming up with Fulton. They rescheduled to the summer, and that's right around the corner. But that's going to be a really, really good fight. But, people look at Inoue, look at his power, they look at what he's doing in the sport of boxing, and they're like, hey, this guy truly is, as his alias says, he truly is a monster. And then you take a look at a guy like Alexander Usyk, another one of those guys at cruiserweight. We know what he's done at cruiserweight, and we see what he's doing at heavyweight. And he still has some more work to be done. Now, how much further can Alexander Usyk go at heavyweight? I don't know. He clipped AJ. There's only two more there for him to really get in the ring with to prove that, he's the real deal, is Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. But I personally feel once Usyk gets up there to bang with those guys, I have a feeling Usyk is gonna fall short. Just my opinion. But that being said, when I look at this rack and stack, I have to say, where is Devin Haney? You understand what I'm saying? Devin Haney. See, this is where we had to be careful, right? To me, it doesn't matter if Devin Haney, it doesn't matter how he ended up in position to get his fight with what's his name, with Kambosos. To me, it just doesn't matter. What does it matter if Lomachenko decided to go and fight for his country and turn down the opportunity to fight Kambosos? So then Devin Haney steps in, he gets the opportunity, and Devin Haney beats Kambosos in Australia, then defends the titles, right, against Kambosos in a rematch. And now, here's Devin Haney again about to fight Lomachenko. Now, some people may feel, you know what? Once Devin Haney beats Lomachenko, then maybe we can add him to these pound-for-pound listings, right? Because a lot of people, and I have to agree with this part, right? They feel Devin Haney hasn't really fought an elite opponent. And when I hear that, I have to stop and really think it through and be honest with myself about Devin Haney and the kind of opposition that he's faced. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't think Devin Haney has faced a bunch of tomato cans, but what I am going to tell you is Devin Haney has not fought the likes of anyone near Jermaine Ortiz, hasn't fought anyone near the likes of Ryan Garcia, anyone near the likes of, I'd say, a Pedraza, anyone near the likes of anyone who can right now in their prime give him, make it a serious 50-50 fight. Lomachenko is that 50-50 fight for Devin Haney. And a lot of people recognize that, and now they want to wait and see if Devin Haney rises to the occasion. Keep hearing people talk about Lomachenko's age. I'm going to tell you what. It doesn't matter what you may think about Lomachenko. You look at how Lomachenko performed against Jermaine Ortiz. That should tell you everything you need to know about Lomachenko and where he's at as far as his ability to perform at his current age. Okay, so let's understand. With Lomachenko, 17 wins and 2 losses, right? That first loss against Salido. Now, what's going on, Hood? How was your day? Hey, what's up, Latham? My day was pretty good, man. What about yours? Glad to see you on here, man. I know you're real fond of Devin Haney. So I'm going live to talk about Devin Haney, and of course, anything else anybody wants to talk about, just throw it at me. I just went live. I don't normally announce when I go live, but as people recognize I'm on here, more people will jump on. But what I was saying about Lomachenko is let's not worry about his 2 losses, because that first loss was against Salido, and Salido fouled him. He fought dirty. It was a horrible referee. So in my opinion, Lomachenko deserved the win for that fight against Salido. Then you look at his second loss to Teofimo Lopez. Obviously, Vasily Lomachenko was injured, but no excuse. Teofimo, he did his thing, especially that first half of the fight. He just good. I'm glad you had something good to eat, champ. Teofimo just put so much work in on the front end of the fight that the back end made it a little bit easier for him to at least, punch with Lomachenko to make the rounds close, man. Latham says Loma is definitely one of the best. He is, man. He definitely is. And we're going to see something here with Devin Haney. But what I'm getting at is we're talking about Devin Haney, and we're talking about the opposition he's fought. So I'm gonna pull this up, right? And let me see if I can slide this over. So now we're gonna see right here, right? Let's just go down the list and let's take a look at Devin Haney. Started fighting back in 2015. But when we go up the list of names, right? It just shows the natural order of progression for a guy who turns pro. You look at the opponent's records, like the guy Gonzalo Lopez Rodriguez at the bottom, 1 win, 1 loss. His next opponent, 7 win, 21 losses. But as we move up this list, I'm looking at names and I'm trying to see the records as well. This is all development for Devin Haney. Okay, he's a couple years in by 2016, still some development. But then now you see, starting to, around 2017, the opposition as far as the records, getting a little bit better. Starting to come across some names that, may be a little bit familiar. But after about 3-4 years in, Devin Haney starts coming out here, man, and you can definitely see the records on his opponents really, really looking good, right? So, again, Devin Haney doesn't have huge names on his record. It's not really, for me, it wasn't until he got that Yuriorkis Gamboa fight to where Devin Haney had, in my opinion, a really big name. Now, Gamboa was a little bit outdated, but he was a big name. So we know what happened in that fight with him and Gamboa. Devin Haney did the business to Gamboa. But the thing is, he went 12 rounds with him. You know what I'm saying? He went 12 rounds with Gamboa. Then he got in there with Jorge Linares. And I don't think people are giving Devin Haney enough credit for this fight. This is the same Linares that almost knocked out Lomachenko. All right, let me finish my train of thought. Latham, I'm going to go to your comment. All right, this is the Linares that almost got Lomachenko out of there. But Linares put a little heat on Devin Haney. Devin Haney persevered through it. Yeah, it was the end of the round. Doesn't matter. He pushed through it. And then you come full circle now, got in there with Jojo Diaz, had a really good fight. Second half of the fight, pretty competitive. Devin took some damage. But at the end of the day, Devin Haney won the fight, goes on, gets an opportunity for Kambosos, clips him twice, and now he's here with Lomachenko. All right? So what we're going to see now is he kind of went from cutting his teeth on boxing, perfecting his skill set to go in and now and take it on what I would say were like C plus B level fighters. Kambosos, I don't know if I would want to insult him and say he's a C plus fighter, but he's like a B plus level fighter, right? And then now going on, I would say that Lomachenko, if you're going to rate him on a grading scale, I would say he's more like an A-rated fighter. And if Devin Haney can do the business here, in my opinion, it's been time to put respect on Devin Haney's name. But if they still won't get this man the respect he deserves and put him on a pound-for-pound listing, then this is just secret society boxing politics and people just hating on that young man, and that's horrible, man. But my boy Latham says, what you of Tio recent outlook? I don't know. You got a deck over Loma. You got a decision over Loma, who Top Rank loves. You got a decision in a fight many think you lost, and now getting a title fight. I say they done you pretty nice. No, I agree 100%. Teofimo Lopez is getting hooked up. I don't know what the arrangement is over there with him, Bob Arum, why Top Rank loved this man so much. But Teofimo Lopez, in my opinion, he hasn't earned his opportunity. Now, for anyone out there who wants to disagree with me, I mean, that's cool, but I mean, what has he done? Since he's gone, first he lost to Kambosos, right? Then he goes up to 140, and he had 2 outings, less than lackluster performances. You know what I'm saying? Less than lackluster performances. And then now he ends up out here getting a crack at a title. It just doesn't make any sense. It's just not right. But I'm gonna say this. When it comes to guys having connections, I like Rolly Romero, but he's getting hooked up too, isn't he? Rolly Romero's getting hooked up too at 140. He's going up to 140, and he's getting a crack at a title. But it's not his fault because, Antoine Russell turned down the opportunity to fight for the title against Puello, and you look at how the dust settled now. Rolly Romero's in the mix. Russell's not. Puello's out. It is what it is. Latham says Dev tried to fight a lot of guys. He fought who he can get. That's true too. There were Dev and his dad calls out a lot of people, but we know when it comes to the boxing and the politics and the way a lot of these guys are postured right now, nobody really wants to fight Devin Haney, right? He's extremely high risk. He's an extremely talented fighter, but the way they see it is that they're not going to make any money with him. You know what I'm saying? That's how they see Devin Haney. There's no money there. Although he has all those titles, it doesn't seem like these fighters don't really want to chase legacy. You know what I'm saying? You look at Devin Haney down at 135. He's now getting a Lomachenko fight. He tried to get that fight with Lomachenko before. That's a fact. And Lomachenko just didn't want to do it at the time. He was trying to go on to fight bigger names and make more money. So I don't think anyone is afraid of Devin Haney. I wouldn't say no one's putting duck sauce on the fried rice. But what I would say is these fighters out here are definitely looking to make the most money possible. And you know what's sad, right? I remember there was a time where when guys had the hardware, they had the belts. People were gunning after them because those belts mean money. If you have titles, especially an undisputed distinction, well, then you know what? You have a lot of leverage when you go into fights. This is something that majority of us know. You start going into you're the undisputed champion. You're going to fight a mandatory against one of these sanctioned bodies. More times than not, you're getting 70% of the damn purse. And these guys they'd rather not risk taking a loss, trying to at least get their hands on an undisputed distinction. I'll tell you what, I can't understand it, right? But I can accept somebody not wanting to fight maybe for one belt, putting some duck sauce on that fried rice and going off and doing something different. Yeah, but when you get an opportunity to fight for the undisputed distinction and you won't take it. So absolute madness, man. So we're going to see what happens with Devin Haney after he fights with Lomachenko. And I'm going to tell you, I think he beats Lomachenko. I do. But I don't think it's going to be easy. I don't think so. Not at all, man. QT, what's going on, QT, man? How you doing? I appreciate you joining the chat. Hey, when we have these chats, you can throw anything out, man. We can jump around from fighter to fighter, subject to subject. You know what I'm saying? We could jump all around. Just throw it out there. But it's just the thing with Devin Haney, man. It just got under my skin to see that they were, treating Devin Haney like that, man. When I was looking at this right here just really annoyed me that, they won't even give this man the credit he deserves, It's crazy. Yeah, absolutely, QT, man. We all agree that Devin Haney beats Lomachenko. Now, I'm going to tell you this, right? If Devin Haney, who's the undisputed at 135, we don't know how much longer he's going to remain there, but if he beats Lomachenko, just looking at this list here, in my opinion, Devin Haney should leapfrog Charlo, Davis, Taylor, and he should go to the number 7 spot. If he beats Lomachenko, which I think he will, Devin Haney, as far as how the Ring magazine has the pound-for-pound top 10 ranking stacked, Devin Haney should take the number 7 spot. That's all I'm saying. You know what I mean? If he doesn't take the number 7 spot, then we got a problem. Most disrespectful pound-for-pound list I've seen in a while. Yeah, absolutely, man. It's crazy. And Latham, what you're saying right there, man, he says his last fight with Top Rank and done with him. I think he's standing his own clothes. Yeah, they got to be careful talking like that, man. We know Bob Arum is spiteful. Let me tell you something, man. Bob Arum has been in the business of boxing for 40 plus years. You know why? Because Bob Arum put Top Rank into business before those fighters. You understand? Yeah, Bob Arum's not going to sit there and allow Devin Haney to come out and say these things like, hey, that's like you being in a relationship with someone, right? Some female, and she's telling you, yeah, well, I know you about to buy me a new car, and that's cool, but I'm letting you know I'm leaving you after you buy me this new car, this Mercedes or this BMW. And you think you're going to be stupid enough to buy this? First of all, you're not spending no kind of money like that anyway. But if you're going to buy it, you think you're going to be stupid enough to buy this girl something? It's like, oh, you about to leave after all this I'm about to do for you and I've done for you? All right, I'm going to fix you. And I think that's what's going to happen, man. Seriously, man. Most pound for pounds be Tank Endeavor top 5. I'm going to be honest with you, man. When we come back, I think this is probably the most important pound for pound list, right? We all have our own, but when you look at this list right here, we talk about Tank Davis, Gervonta Davis, right? And everything Gervonta Davis has been doing. I don't think Gervonta Davis should be over Jermell Charlo, but it just depends on what criteria people are using to construct a pound for pound list. But to me, Jermell Charlo is that guy. When I look at this list, I could kind of understand. I could understand Usyk. I could understand Usyk and where he's at. Usyk he has all the disadvantages at heavyweight, and he's overcoming these obstacles, man, to continue to get wins as a heavyweight. And I think he's going to continue to do great things. Inoue, I could easily sit there and say Inoue shouldn't be number 2. Maybe they should bump him down some. But I could understand having Inoue up in the top 5. Canelo Alvarez, look, man, I know what he's done before, but is this pound for pound listing about what people have done before, what people are doing now? Because if we're looking at what Canelo Alvarez is doing now, he shouldn't even be up there at the number 5 spot. You know what I'm saying? But Devin Haney should definitely be on this list. So, talking about somebody out here putting the work in, challenging himself, taking the risk, and he's undisputed. I don't see why they don't put all the undisputed people on here. I don't see why Clarissa Shields isn't on here either. We start talking about people out here putting it on the line. What about Franchon Cruz DAZN? You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. So yeah, I don't agree with this list, but Devin Haney should be here definitely, in my opinion, man. He says Jamel is top 10, top 7. Yeah, no doubt about that. So I was talking about Tio, but yeah. QT says, what do you think about Floyd wanting Tank versus Tio and not Devin? Wasn't Tank versus Ryan for WBA regular belt? Yeah. Well, there was no title on the line. There was no title on the line. Was my understanding, Tank versus Ryan. Because when you look at, and that's what I thought was odd, because when you look at right here with Gervonta Davis, right over here in the far right, this WBA column, Gervonta Davis is the WBA World Lightweight Champion. He is, but that title wasn't on the line, and that's something that I was wondering about. We're even worrying about Ryan Garcia. He had some interim belt. It's like, what happened to that? So I don't know what the deal was. I could be wrong, but it was my understanding there was no damn titles on the line, but there was still a rematch clause in place. So it just blew my mind, man. I didn't get it. Bucks's mind, what's going on, champ? He says, hey, what are your thoughts on all the sanctioning bodies coming together and making official pound for pound list for boxing? I think that could be a good thing if they did that, man, because it's so subjective. But if they're going to put something like that together, then there needs to be some kind of strict criteria. But I would definitely like to get a peek behind the tent flaps of what how these sanctioning bodies see these fighters, and see what they collectively come up with. What's going on, Eric R, man? Appreciate you joining the chat. But to see what the sanctioning bodies collectively come up with as far as a rack and stack of pound for pound. And I guarantee you, their list is going to be totally different from what we're seeing out here. Absolutely. Latham says they should come together as one, period, with a solid structure. Yeah, for real, man. It's just like years ago, right? I've done videos on this, and I didn't know it until I did the research. He said House Crew still number 2. But years ago, they were supposed to get together, and they were supposed to be putting together a process to where they all agreed on which sanctioning body's mandatory will get first dibs at a title. And then they would agree who would be second, who would be third. But they still don't operate like that. You know what I'm saying? They still don't operate like that. Y'all want to look at this right here? Let me pull this back up for you. So I'll give you a little opportunity to take a look at this, right? So this is where we're at. These are the sanctioning bodies right here. Y'all can read them names. I don't need to put it all in here. But this is the WBO, IBF, WBC, and WBA. Just take a look at how they got the rack and stack. You know what I'm saying? QT says, how is Cruz still number 2 for the WBC, but he declined to fight Shakir after it was ordered? Shakir should have passed him. I agree with you 100%. If these guys don't want to fight, they're made the mandatory, right? And they don't want to fight, they should drop to the bottom of the list or get kicked off the list. That's exactly what they should do to them, because they're just holding up a spot. You know what I mean? You get an opportunity to fight, and you made it mandatory to fight somebody to go into a title eliminator, and they won't do it. So yeah, I agree. Shakir Stevenson should be above Cruz. And when you just start over here in that WBO column, man, and you just start taking a look at it, it's crazy. It's crazy. Anthony Latham says they do what they want. WBA put Ryan Garcia at number 1 at 135 when he was ranked at 140. Yeah, absolutely they do what they want, man. It's crazy. What's going on, Mills? He says, I used to jokingly call him Devin the Decision Haney because he can't even get a TKO, let alone a KO. Still a hell of a boxer, though. Yeah, no doubt about that, man. And maybe that's one of the things that's hurting Devin Haney. That's why I was saying I think it just depends on what criteria is being used That's why when it comes to these sanctioning bodies, if the sanctioning bodies actually put together a list, then I think that would be a pound for pound list. I think that the names they'll be showing on that pound for pound list will be a lot different than what we're seeing with these other lists, man. Now, wait, what the hell? Hold on a second, man. See, this goddamn Keyshawn Davis is ranked. This was just updated, man. Yeah, as of right here, 24th of April. Now, this is ridiculous. Keyshawn Davis is rack and stack by the Ring. They got him at number 10. Now, I don't believe Keyshawn Davis deserves to be at no damn number 10. That's just my opinion. I know how some of y'all feel about Keyshawn Davis, Mills, you in particular. I know you high on him. He turned pro. He went to the Olympics, got a silver. He came back into the sport, and I get it. But how the hell they just going to decide to throw Keyshawn Davis in there at number 10? Come on, man. Eric R. says, it's like what they did with the guys Canelo fought. They kept them high ranked and out of harm's way. Absolutely. Absolutely, man. They're going to make it look good for whoever it is that they're trying to build up. But I just tell you what, man, this whole thing, I'm always joking about the damn secret society. But when you look at what's going on here at 135 right now, I'm telling you right now, man, Keyshawn Davis, all right, people sitting here saying, you know what, they're picking and choosing what they want to do with these fighters. Let me tell you, Keyshawn Davis is being put into position to get himself a big fight. And who is Keyshawn Davis signed to? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, well, they got the 24th on here, but no, I'm tracking what you're saying, but they probably, you know how it is, man. People have little oversights when they do their updates. But goddamn, Keyshawn Davis on here? Crazy. And they moved Frank Martin down. He says, I don't think Martin should be that high yet, and Keyshawn ain't fought no one to be top 10. I agree with you 100%. But I don't know, man. Frank Martin over Hughes, Zepeda, Cambosos Jr., I think Frank Martin clips all those guys. I think Frank Martin, man, I think he's the boogeyman, if you ask me. I think he's the boogeyman. Eric R. says, top-ranked play, Keyshawn going to end up with a WBO somehow. Keyshawn going to end up with something. He going to end up with something, man. Mills, yeah. So at least we all agree on that, because I know, Mills, you high on Keyshawn. But damn, if they got him there, well, what's the real deal? Over here for the WBO, Lomachenko, he's going to lose. So this is what's interesting about this weight division. If Devin Haney chooses to hang around on here, make this a little bit smaller for y'all, right? If Devin Haney chooses to hang around, once he clips Lomachenko, right? Shit. I don't know. Is Lomachenko fighting as the mandatory for the WBO or the WBC? You see, I don't know which sanctioning body Lomachenko is actually positioned as a mandatory. So I'm not sure, but nonetheless, he's going to drop off. So when you look at what's next for Devin Haney, if he stays at 135, look at where Shakur Stevenson is. He just came over from 130 to 135, and look at where he's ranked. Look where he's ranked already. He's here at number 2 for the WBO. You come over to the IBF, you got this guy Lemos, who should not get a shot at Haney, but he may at some point. Lomachenko's number 3. He's going to lose. And you got Shakur Stevenson at number 4. Then the WBC. Lomachenko's going to lose. Cruz, they'll probably bump him off of here like we talked about since he turned down the Stevenson fight. And then look who's next. Shakur Stevenson. So when you look at this, Shakur Stevenson is in a good position, man. A good position to get that fight. But so is Frank Martin. It just depends on which sanctioning body, whose turn is it to have the mandatory challenge for the title. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Mills says they got Shakur and all of their top 5s. Hell yeah, they got him there. They trying to get Shakur Stevenson to get in there and give Devin Haney the business, man. Latham says for both Hood, yeah, both Mandos. Yeah. Oh, for both. Okay. I wasn't sure how that worked. So if that's the case, that means we got to look at what's going on here with the IBF and then the WBA. IBF is next. Well, then hell, if IBF is next, I'm sure they're going to find a way to get around this Lemos guy. And Stevenson's going to be the next person up. That's crazy. QT says, I think Devin beats everyone except Shakur. Tank's 50-50 to me. You know, man, I kind of agree with you on Devin Haney, man. People are sleeping on Devin Haney's skills. You know what I'm saying? Devin Haney can fight. But when we look at this rack stack and we look at what's really coming up for a guy like Devin Haney, you know, he beats Lomachenko. He should beat this Fierro. I think he beats Cruz no problem. Lemos, I think he clips him no problem. You know, Frank Martin, I think that's a good fight, man. You know, but outside of Frank Martin, really outside of those big names, man, Frank Martin, Tank Davis, Shakur Stevenson, you know, I even think at this point Devin Haney would beat Ryan Garcia, man. But if Ryan Garcia goes back to the lab and puts some work in, Ryan Garcia may come out of here a much better fighter and more improved, but he got to get away from goddamn Joe Goosen, man, because Joe Goosen ain't doing nothing but killing that young boy. But yeah, y'all, we may be on to something here, man. Latham Mills says one fight and he already in the top 5. Yeah, that's crazy, crazy. You got other guys out here killing themselves, trying to get themselves an opportunity, man. And they gonna sit here and do that. It's crazy. Latham said, and it was a Rudy Poot. Hell yeah, that guy that Keyshawn Davis fought, that was horrible. That was like Danny Garcia and wasn't it Rod Salka? That was horrible. Talk about a mismatch, man. Just play with that guy. And when he got tired of playing around with him, he just tranquilized him. So yeah, he hasn't done anything, man, to be in that position they had him at. That's crazy, man. Latham says the best at 135, Frank, Tank, Dev, and I guess Keyshawn. They're all 50-50 fights. They are, but I think I'm going to tell you, man, I'm going to be honest with you. Tank Davis, I have to favor him against anybody, man. And I'm not a bandwagonist. It's just to see Tank Davis. I watched that fight like 3 more times. Tank Davis against Garcia. The stuff that Tank was doing, even recognizing when he's hurt and not being afraid to clinch and hold on for dear life. Even when Ryan Garcia was hitting him with them forearms and elbows. I don't know if y'all saw that. But, hey, that's what Ryan Garcia was supposed to do. But Tank Davis knew to clinch, to hold, weather the storm. Like, it's hard to teach somebody that. That comes from years of just sparring and training. That mentality, man, you can't just instill that in somebody, man. Eric R. says, I'd love to see Devin versus Jermaine Ortiz. Ortiz should be ahead of Keyshawn. I feel you. Mill says, I feel you at Anthony. I want to see the fight as well. Let me tell y'all something. I don't know why he's up here, isn't he? They took Ortiz off of here. So Ortiz, he was on this list. They took him off. But where do they have Jermaine Ortiz on here? So let me see. Because Jermaine Ortiz, man, he gave Lomachenko the business. They don't even have... That's crazy. Okay, he's ranked in the WBC as number 8. So they got Jermaine Ortiz at number 8 in the WBC. But it don't seem to be like he's anywhere else. And to me, that's a foul, man. But, hey, that's somebody who people aren't talking about. What's going on, 818? I think Jermaine Ortiz. I keep saying Frank Martin. He's the boogeyman, but people know about him. But Jermaine Ortiz, he's the real boogeyman of that division. That's why he doesn't have any fights coming up. Nobody wants to fight him. But if Jermaine Ortiz just needs an opportunity. He had it against Lomachenko. He almost got him out of there, man. It was a tough fight. Lomachenko pushed through it and just showed that there was levels to his game. But let me tell y'all something, man. That damn Jermaine Ortiz can fight. Edwin De Los Santos is another problem. But damn, I would like to see Jermaine Ortiz get an opportunity. Devin against Jermaine Ortiz, man, I think Ortiz would. I think Ortiz, them first 6 rounds, Devin Haney would have it rough. For real. 818 says, peace, Hood. What's going on, champ? He says, Haney don't get no love because you can tell his dad is woke. An old school G from back when light-skinned dudes were tough. He says, that means Dev is woke, conscious. Man, yeah, I don't know, man. You know, we talk about Devin, Devin Haney's pops. I don't know, man. One thing for sure is he's helped to guide his son's career, you know, and got to commend him for that. But I just think he's getting to a point to where he's detracting from Devin Haney's performances, and he's going to hurt Devin Haney continue to ascend that ladder of success, man. You know what I'm saying? I get it that his dad understands the business of boxing. He recognizes his son's talent. He recognizes the roadblocks people are putting in place. He understands that, you know, they're backed in the corner out there with Top Rank. No one's really trying to help him. But I just think they still got to be careful, man. You know what I'm saying? But I understand what you're saying. I'm tracking with everything that you're saying, 818. I'm tracking with everything that you're saying. I just think, you know, there's a time and place for some of that, man. And they just be, you know, firing hollow points, his dad anyway, for no reason at anybody. And anything's liable to come out of his mouth. And, you know, that, I don't know. I don't think that helps his situation. I put it to you that way. But we'll see what's going on. QT says, I don't think Ryan has it. He's 24 with 24 fights. It's still no ring IQ. By the time he gets to ring IQ, he'll be in a higher weight class due to getting older. Well, we're talking about the weight classes at 140 now. Now we're talking about Ryan Garcia bubbling up. I'm gonna tell you right now, Ryan Garcia up here with these guys. Let's just be real. Ryan Garcia will get tranquilized if they even think to put him in with any of these guys up here. He's going to get tranquilized. Now, we talked about this already, about Ryan Garcia and who he could possibly fight next at 140. But I think the consensus was a guy like Pedraza would be a good measuring stick for Ryan Garcia. You know, let's see what he can do against a guy like Pedraza. Some of these other guys who are at 135 and bubble up to 140. You know, let's see what he can do there. But to take Ryan Garcia and throw him in here, even with a Sandor Martin, right? We know Sandor Martin and Teofimo got it on. Sandor Martin, a lot of people feel he won that fight. But you take this Ryan Garcia, nah, man, I agree. He's limited, man. He showed that he still kind of has an amateurish style. You know, he throws wide punches, wide looping punches. He's not really anticipating what could possibly come back to him. He doesn't even recognize the traps are being set. But then again, he did admit that he didn't hold his horses. He took it to the stupid. And Ryan Garcia was just basically being dumb. This man said, now, these aren't my words. Ryan Garcia said, I got bored in there. So I said, you know what? F it. It's like, you know, let's just have a shootout. How dumb is that, man? Mills says, I read that Ryan makes $11 million a year from his IG, so boxing is a side gig. Absolutely. Absolutely, it's his side gig. Ryan, so that 11 mil, right? That's from IG. Ryan Garcia has huge contracts with different modeling agencies. You know what I'm saying? Ryan Garcia, he said before, I make more money outside of boxing than I do in boxing. And that's what happened this weekend. You know, people are still out here, even after I went and posted the audio of Ryan Garcia's dad. See, Ryan Garcia, this is the whole thing. That's why I say these guys and their parents, from Bill Haney, the Danny Garcia's dad, Crazy Angel, Teofimo Lopez's dad, and now Ryan Garcia's dad. These guys, they get a microphone put in front of them shit, man, and they just can't help themselves but come out there and start running their damn mouths. So Ryan Garcia goes to his dad, right? Confided in his pops about the fight. And he told his dad, he said, look, man, I got hurt in there. I got hit with a hard shot. And he told his pops, could have continued, but I just said, you know what? I knew if I continued, it's not that he couldn't continue. He could have continued. He said, if I would have continued, I knew there was a chance of me getting hurt, and I didn't want that to happen to me. And that ties into what we're talking about. This man making $11+ million from IG, modeling contracts, just showing up to events. You sitting there like that, it goes back to what Marvelous Marvin Hagler said. You know, we all familiar with the saying, when you waking up in silk pajamas, kind of hard to go out there and put that road work in, you know what I'm saying? And Ryan Garcia, he showed that. And for those people who are saying he was smart to not push through it and to go out there and keep fighting Tank, let me tell you something. That's just not the mentality of someone who's going to go on and become elite and dominate a weight division, definitely to dominate multiple weight divisions. Ryan Garcia didn't even dominate 135. You know, if we're just keeping it real. I heard somebody say Ryan Garcia was a king at 135. I'm like, how? Who? How? Who? What? When? Where? Why? How? You tell me. How the hell was Ryan Garcia dominating 130? How did he dominate 135? What did he do at 135 that made him the king at 135? So for him to go down to 140, to think he's going to go dominate 140, come on, man. Ryan Garcia is going to be picking up no bunch of titles and becoming undisputed at 140. Even if he hooks up with a Derrick James, he could have Derrick James as the head trainer, Freddie Roach as the assistant trainer, Manny Robles just as the assistant to the assistant. It doesn't matter who he has. His mentality is when it gets thick in that ring, right? When reality starts to come to you, and it's coming real quick, right? His mentality is that of a quitter. Simple. This fight's not easy. I can't knock this guy out. Okay, where's the exit? And that's something that I don't know what he can do to get beyond that. You know, at least Anthony Joshua will sit there and try to stay in the ring. You know what I mean? Anthony Joshua kind of got a little bit of that in him, you know. He just doesn't want to be put in that position, but he'll stay in the ring. He just won't throw any punches. Kind of like AB. I'll stay in here. I don't want to get knocked out. I'm not going to throw any punches. Ryan Garcia is just like, F it. I'm out of here. And that's, I think that's going to be a problem for him to try to get beyond, especially to have that at such a young age. You know what I'm saying? It's like he didn't want to he got his nose busted. He started bleeding. Then he got clipped to the body. It's like he's like, I don't want to take no more. Okay, I got it, Mr. Tank Davis. I understand what you were saying about levels to this. I'm sorry. I'm going to leave your ass alone. And that's what he did, man. He took the easy route. It is what it is. QT says, man, when Ryan said he got bored, I just cut the TV off and admitted they finessed me with this fight. Anybody who paid for that fight, you know, however you watch the fight, you watch the fight. But if anybody paid for that fight, I enjoyed Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis. It was very exciting. But I would have, just think of what it would have done for Ryan Garcia's profile and even for Tank Davis's profile. If Ryan would have got up like, who was that who got up and banged their gloves together and were like, come on, man. There was a fight I watched where someone got knocked down and they got up and were banging their gloves together like bring it on. I can't remember who it was, but if Ryan Garcia would have got up and done that, yo, his profile would have been out of here, man. Out of here. But, you know, he didn't do it. And he told his dad basically he quit. And his father, stupidly, went out there and shared a conversation that Ryan Garcia wanted to be kept in private. And now, you know, guys like me pick up on it. And then I report it. I don't think anybody else picked up on it until I said something because nobody else said anything about it. You know, I think I'm the only one that caught that in that interview. And I was like, damn, man told his dad he quit. What's up, Thrasher? Said I seen Tank walk right through Ryan punches. Well, I'll tell you this, right? the first round and a half, Ryan Garcia was doing some great stuff, man. He was showing that there's some potential there. He recognized when Tank Davis is on the back foot and Tank Davis' back hit the ropes, Ryan Garcia exploded. And see, the thing is, I think even Tank had to try to gauge the speed of Ryan Garcia. And, we got to be fair. What's going on, Pennant? Ryan Garcia, he's got some pop. So he hurt Tank. And that first round, he hurt Tank, man. Well, I don't know if y'all saw, when Tank was grabbing on him, it was more to blunt the offense, right? But Ryan Garcia hit him with a few more shots, and Tank was on the rope, and he didn't even come behind the jab, nothing. Tank just tried to time it and jumped in and hugged Ryan. And Ryan was punching out the clinch. And Tank was complaining to the referee. And Tank was hurt. But he knew how to survive. He knew what to do. But then, what happened is Ryan Garcia he got carried away. And he threw the same, you can't come out there doing the same thing over this big white left hook. And Tank Davis tranquilized him. Then as the fight went on, Tank was getting closer and closer with his shots. He was out jabbing Ryan Garcia. But Ryan Garcia was showing in spurts, especially when he tried to incorporate the right hand. Ryan Garcia showed that, hey, if he would commit more, he would give himself better opportunities to at least make it more competitive. But Tank, like you said, he was eating those shots, man. Tank Davis was eating those shots and just whatever. He was getting momentum, and Ryan was developing low energy. And, once he got hit to that body, he was like, all right, that's it, I'm out. What's going on, Pennant? Pennant says Jared Anderson is fighting Jan Kazabutsky. Yeah, I saw that. I don't know much about Jan Kazabutsky, but since we're talking about the heavyweights, let me see if I can pull something up here, because I saw who Jared Anderson was fighting, and I was like, damn, who the hell is that? But since we're talking about him, right? Let me see if I can find his name on here, because we know Jared Anderson is continuing to move up the list. So let's see what we have. So this right here is the heavyweight division, right? And we all know kind of what's going on right now with the heavyweights, Usyk, Fury, everybody in this picture, all right? Everybody seems, Parker has something going on now. I saw a name pop up there with him. But Jared Anderson, let's see, where is he in this ranking stack when it comes to the WBO, the IBF, WBC, and WBA? Let's see, where the hell is Jared Anderson? So he's ranked number 7 by the WBO. That guy that he's fighting, he's not ranked, which is cool because they're still building Jared Anderson. Under the IBF, Jared Anderson is not ranked. Under the WBC, Jared Anderson is ranked number 10. Okay, I see what it is for the WBC. All right, right here. This is what's going on. Let me make this a little bit larger for you. Right here. So underneath here, the WBC, you got this guy, Kozobutsky. He's ranked number 8. Jared Anderson's ranked number 11. So I see what they're trying to do here. They're trying. The WBC is always in the middle of everything, man. And Bob Arum, he's doing what he's supposed to do for his guy. But they are now trying to build up Jared Anderson. If he clips this guy Kozobutsky, Jared Anderson's going to leapfrog all these guys. And he's going to probably be in position, probably around that between 6 through 8, because Dylan White is not doing anything, right? He can't get a fight right now. I could see Jared Anderson leapfrogging all these guys. And yeah, I do think Jean is a good test. I think he's a good test, man. He can fight. But if Anderson gets past, I'm going to call him ZK, right? If he can get past ZK, hey, let me tell you something. Jared Anderson is going to probably bubble all the way up to like this, I would say like the number 6 spot. Seriously. You still got Makhmudov there, Frank Sanchez, and he's not going above Joshua Reese and Wilder. But I think he can get to that 6 or 7 spot. no problem. No problem, man. So yeah, that's interesting, man, to see what they're doing. They're definitely building him up and trying to get him in position to eventually go on and fight for a title. But yeah, that's absolutely interesting. QT says Jean is a good test, but it need to be Jared's last test. He need a top 10 or 15. Yeah, I think after this, Jared Anderson is going to be looking like a Dillian White or some of those other fighters. Eddie Hearn and Bob Arum, they bump heads, but they'll come together to make a fight. But I think Eddie Hearn, I'm going to be honest with you, I think Eddie Hearn wants Dillian White and Derek Chisora. I think he wants them out of his hair. So I could see Eddie Hearn making that fight like a Jared Anderson, Dillian White, or putting Jared Anderson in with a Derek Chisora. I think Jared Anderson would get really tested against Derek Chisora, even though I think Derek Chisora should retire. I think Jared Anderson against Derek Chisora is a tough fight, and against Dillian White is a good fight, and it's a good name for him to get a feather in his cap. I think that's outstanding because right now Dillian White is still out here begging for damn Anthony Joshua. He probably won't get that fight. They keep dangling that carrot in front of him, but I just don't see it happening. My boy Eric R says Tank and Shakir make adjustments in fights. Yeah, they do. Tank and Shakir Stevenson, man, they're thinkers. And I don't know if you guys heard what Shakir Stevenson said. After this fight this past weekend, Shakir Stevenson did an interview. And he said in that interview, he talked about when he sparred Tank Davis. And he admitted, he said he felt like he got the best of the sparring session. He said, but by no means do I want you all to believe that I walked through Tank Davis. He's like, I'm not saying that. He's like, I learned something about Tank Davis from sparring him. He's like, that he's setting traps and he's thinking. He said he learned a lot about Tank, saying Tank is extremely smart. And somebody else said something, man, who was saying that where someone said you may think Tank Davis is dumb? Oh, Sean Porter. I don't know where direction he was taking the conversation, but Sean Porter said some people may think Tank Davis is dumb because he doesn't speak well, he's not very articulate. And I thought that was a slap in the face, you know what I'm saying? Because he didn't have to say all that. But that's what Sean Porter said. I'm not making that up. But he said he sparred Tank Davis. And even he said he has the utmost respect for Tank because he said what he believed Tank was, basically Tank showed him what he was all about. And when Sean Porter talks about Tank Davis, he is very positive about him. He sounds like someone who got his ass whipped by the smaller man in a sparring session. That's exactly how Sean Porter sounds when he speaks about Tank. So far you got Sean Porter, who is highly credible, saying Tank is extremely intelligent. He has outstanding IQ, extremely explosive, power, freakish, and he's going to be tough for anyone to beat. And you got Shakir Stevenson, who a lot of people hold him in high regard too, who's saying the same thing. So that being said, as far as the adjustments being made by a guy like Tank Davis, and Shakir is doing it on the, he's doing it on the fly while he's in the ring as well. As to me, it's going to boil down, in my opinion, to that damn power of Tank, and we're going to see what happens. But I tell you what, after this fight this weekend, Shakir Stevenson wasn't talking like he felt he was going to beat Tank. He said he has to be, these are Shakir Stevenson's word, he has to be on his A game. He said Tank is serious. He said Tank is serious. So Tank has everybody right now, man, kind of, I think, on eggshells, like what's in this man's gloves, you know what I mean? It's how everybody is watching it now. They saw he knocked Ryan Garcia out, how he's knocked out his last three opponents, all undefeated. And everyone's just sitting here now saying, if they didn't think he was the real deal, now they're convinced that Tank Davis is the real deal. And when they get in the ring now, it's kind of like Deontay Wilder or Mike Tyson. You're in the ring, and you can't comfortably box this guy because you know that the punch is coming. You know what I'm saying? When Mike Tyson used to fight, those opponents knew before getting in the ring that damn punch was coming. And just when was it going to land? So they couldn't really get focused and comfortable. Deontay Wilder, it doesn't matter who he fights. Those opponents have that in the back of their head. When is it going to happen? Because they know at some point in the fight, it's going to happen. Are they going to be able to sustain? And it's the same thing with Tank Davis now. It's getting to the point when he comes in the ring, it doesn't matter who he fights. They're going to be sitting there like, shit, what happens when he lands? Because they know at some point he's going to land. How am I going to respond? And as long as Tank keeps knocking people out, I mean, he's got to go to jail. You know, I think he's going to jail for a while, 30 days at a minimum. But if it's not too long and he comes back and, you know, I think his profile grows. I think Tank Davis continues doing the business and knocking people out. I think people are just going to be damn near scared of him. I think before they even get in the ring, like Mike Tyson days, they would have already lost the fight. The Average Natural. What's going on, champ? I appreciate you joining the chat, man. He says, just watch JoJo versus Devin. Tank stopping him. Yeah, I tend to believe Tank stops everybody, man. I'm just being honest with you. I think Tank, like he's done in the past, he's okay with watching paint dry. He'll sit there, let the fight get boring. I believe Tank has the lowest output of punches of any, I think, champion right now. Tank has the lowest output of punches. But the thing is, he makes his punches count. So, yeah, Tank may get behind 6 rounds, 7 rounds, 8 rounds. But once he says, all right, let me turn this heat up a little bit, hey, the fight changes and the fight stops. So, yeah, it's hard to go against him. Plus, he can box, man. You know, he really understands what he's doing in there. They've done well with him, man. Groomed that boy since he was 7 years old. Well, ain't no boy. He's a man now. Groomed a boy and grew that boy into a man to be an elite special boxer who had natural power from a little kid. I'm sure y'all all seen the damn video where Tank was like 7 years old and he tranquilized one of them youths in the goddamn, I don't know if it was a YMCA or whatever it was, but he tranquilized the kid. So he's always had that power. So yeah, the Average Natural, yeah. Tank, anybody getting in the ring with Tank, man, they're going to have a tough time with that guy. Eric R. says, Floyd looked so proud of Tank. It was cool to see. Yeah, it was cool to see, man. Especially when, see, that's what they should do. They should do a story on Tank Davis. And these guys should have video cameras following them around. Like Andre Ward, right? He knew at some point in time a documentary on his life was going to be something that he wanted. So I think around 2015, 16, he started, or maybe even sooner, he started making sure that there were a lot of cameras following him, recording everything, getting interviews with people, because he wanted to make sure that his story was told the right way. So now he has a documentary coming out. But for Tank Davis, I think they should be doing that right now, and they should put out something on him. Because I was listening to Tank, no, it wasn't Tank, it was, I can't remember who was talking about Tank. They were sitting down, and they were at a party for Adrian Broner, when Adrian Broner was in his prime and, you know, being a fool. But anyway, they were at an after party, and Tank Davis was sitting there watching all the food, all the champagne, you know, all the bells and whistles that came with being in the position Adrian Broner was in at the time. And Tank Davis was crying. He was sitting down watching it saying, man, I want this so bad. And he was crying. So to see where he is now, you know what I'm saying? It's just amazing. And I think if they had footage and they were able to compile it from when he was a little kid up to where he is now, although he's not no undisputed champion or nothing like that, but the fact that he's within reach of becoming the face of boxing, and I'm sure if he fights Devin, he probably clips Devin, you know what I'm saying? But it'd be cool to if they had a clip of that where he's sitting back kind of watching Adrian Broner, and they said he grew emotional and started crying, and then to put it all together. But yeah, no doubt about that, man. Floyd was proud of him. And I think they all believed he would get there, man, And he's right there. He's right there. 818 says, Tank is Floyd's top guy. He has to be cerebral. Floyd teaches him. That's the uniqueness of a fight between Devin Haney and Tank Davis. Devin Haney grew up in the damn Mayweather gym. You watch when when Devin Haney fights, you swear you're looking at a damn a young Floyd Mayweather, a pretty boy, just without all the power. That stuff that Devin Haney's doing in that ring, that Mayweather-esque. So it will be a real interesting fight to see. You basically have Money Mayweather in the form of Devin Haney and Pretty Boy Floyd in the form of Gervonta Davis. So you'd have the two different styles that Mayweather had throughout his career, early in his career and towards the latter part, right? You have those two styles coming together and clashing. I should do a video on that. Tank Davis versus Gervonta Davis is Money Mayweather versus Pretty Boy Floyd. And that's really how I see it, man. Adari Pennant. Oh, he said, wait, hold on. Eric R. says, Tank would do Dev bad as he did Ryan and Hector. Yeah, I happen to agree with you, man. I think at some point when Tank starts to touch him, bad things will happen. Adari Pennant says, Francis Ngannou will be perfect to play like Abebuchi in the movie. Yeah, he would be. Abebuchi, man, that guy, he was on his way too, man. Just, threw it away. Just like James Kirkland, man, was right there on his way. Made some bad decisions, threw it all away. Cool Breeze, what's going on, champ? He says, the Rise podcast have been talking about a documentary of his life. Oh, okay. Okay, that would be great. I know I'd definitely be tuning into that. I'd even pay to watch it. I would pay to watch that. QT says, I like Tank, great boxer, but it's time to fight a top guy. His resume is a finesse. Who's his best opposition, Leo or Pedraza? Well, man, let's take a look, man, because, Leo Santa Cruz, I know he was coming up in weight, but Leo Santa Cruz could fight. Pedraza could fight, but Pedraza said he wasn't 100% for that fight. So again, it kind of puts that stain on Gervonta Davis, man, and his record. But you look at Pedraza, he came back and he did pretty well. I think he had a loss recently, but I don't know, man. We're gonna look at it right now and see if we can kind of pinpoint who y'all think his best win is. I personally think it's Mario Barrios, but that's just me. So let's look at it right now and see what we come up with. So there goes old Tank Davis right there. But let's go all the way down the list and let's see where we want to start off at. I think we'll start right here. Okay? Let me make this a little bit bigger so y'all can see the names better. But let's just start off right here. So let's start in 2015. All right? That's where you start to really bubble up a little bit. So let's look at these names. Nobody knows. So let's start at Pedraza. So Pedraza was 22-0 at the time Tank Davis fought him. Then he went on, he fought Liam Walsh, who was undefeated, 21-0 at the time they fought. And let me bring this over so you can see this. I want y'all to see the results. I want y'all to see the results, right? Actually, I got to break it a little bit smaller. I apologize, but at least y'all can see the results. Okay, right there. So Liam Walsh, Tank beat him, TKO. Okay. Then he went and fought Francisco Fonseca. Tank KO'd him, round 8. Then he went on and fought Cuellar. He fought Hugo Ruiz. He knocked all these guys out. But when you look at their records, they have pretty impressive records. Then he goes on, Ruiz, Nunez. Then he gets in there with Gamboa. And I'm going to be honest with you. When he fought Gamboa, Gamboa in that second round, it looked like they said his Achilles heel had snapped. let me tell you something. You can't fight a fight with a severed Achilles heel. You can't walk, so I don't buy that for a second. But he beat Yuriorkis Gamboa. Took him 12 rounds to get an injured Gamboa out of there. But Gamboa he can take a beating. Then he goes on and he fights Leo Santa Cruz. Now that was a good fight, man. That was a real good fight. Knocked him out in the 6th round. We all know what happened with that vicious uppercut. Then he gets in there with Mario Barrios. I think that was Tank's best win in my opinion. Mario Barrios, much bigger fighter. But the thing is, Mario Barrios at 140 was significantly drained. You know, he didn't really want to fight at 140. He already wanted to move up. But it was a good opportunity. So he stayed at 140 and took the fight. Then he goes on and he fights Isaac Cruz. Now, he was injured in that fight, but he still was able to get a unanimous decision over him. Then after Cruz, he goes in there with Rolly Romero. Rolly Romero touched him up real good. And Tank, to this day, said Rolly Romero was the hardest puncher he faced. And when he says it, you can see how animated he is when he talks about how hard Rolly hits. Where Tank is like, nah, Rolly Romero can crack. So I think the hardest puncher he fought, according to him, is Rolly Romero. But to me, I think Barrios, man, was a better fight. But then I gotta be honest with you, Hector Luis Garcia, you know, what he did to Chris Colbert, that made me feel like Hector Luis Garcia may have been on steroids, the way he just beat Colbert down. But then Tank comes and he clips him, but then I have to remember Hector Luis Garcia was coming up from 130. So, you know, those 5 pounds matter. You know what I'm saying? But Hector Luis Garcia was a great win for Tank, another undefeated fighter. Then he got into with Ryan Garcia, who we all know Ryan Garcia could fight, but there's just definitely some fundamentals lacking. He got exposed, and we saw what Tank did with him. So, in my opinion, when we're talking about Tank Davis, we're talking about Ryan Garcia, or we're talking about Hector Luis Garcia, Rolando Romero, Isaac Cruz, Barrios. I think Barrios was his toughest challenge. I think so. Yeah, Barrios or Garcia. No doubt about that, man. QT says, I like Tank, great boxer. Yeah, Eric R, I think I agree with you, Eric R. Between Barrios and Hector Garcia. Barrios was a tough fight. Barrios hit Tank with the swivel. He like, it's like called a swivel jab, right? But he threw the right more like as a jab and came back with the left as a power. So instead of throwing a 1-3, he threw a 2-1. And but he threw that, but he turned that one over into a hook. And man, he caught Tank. Tank fell back into those ropes. But he just couldn't do that enough. But you could see the expression on Tank's face was that he was hurt. But yeah, that's how I see it. I think what's his name? Barrios was the more difficult fight, or Garcia. But Barrios is about to fight Yordenis Ugas, and that's another one of those tough fight for Barrios, because Ugas, him and his trainer, man, they got a special team. But hey, I'm just being real with you. Ugas got Heredia in his corner, and as long as you have Heredia in your corner as your strength and conditioning coach, you have Ariza in your corner, you have Conti in your corner, or somebody has Dr. Usman Sajjad in their corner. Hey, man, I'm always going to put the hairy eyeball on those guys. You know what I'm saying? It just makes me wonder, how are these guys able to perform the way they do in the ring? And how would they perform if they didn't have these sports and these strength and conditioning coaches? That's all I'm getting at. So Mario Barrios may be taking a second loss at 147 when he faces Ugas. I'm just being honest with you, because Ugas and his team, they got something going on over there. Because remember, Yordenis Ugas, he for the most part, he had quit boxing at a point in time because he took some losses, and Top Rank dropped him. Then he goes off wandering aimlessly, somehow finds his way back to boxing, finds his way back into the gym, hooks up with his trainer, and then sky's been the limit ever since. You know what I mean? What's going on, Irvin the Wiz? Appreciate you joining the chat, man. So with me, when we look at because we've talked about 135, but when we sit here, man, and if we're real, about what's going on here at 147, which is really the next weight division where we really need to be talking about, because a guy like Yordenis Ugas, look, check this out, right? When you really talk about what's going on here with Ugas, who's ranked number 4, 27-5, hey, you know what? Him and Barrios are going to mix it up. I think he beats Barrios. But then after that, what's next for Ugas? With Keith Thurman, let me tell you, man, they need to put out one of them damn them kids alert. They need to find out what the hell Thurman is. There's absolutely there's nothing but radio silence when it comes to Thurman, when it comes to Spence, when it comes to everybody in 147. Y'all recognize that? Nobody at 147 pounds is talking. No one. Spence Jr.'s not saying nothing. Crawford's not saying nothing. Ennis isn't talking. It's crazy. Crazy, man. Pennant says Showtime and Top Rank should just join force, team up, and merge partnerships, and work together. Yeah, but that ain't going to happen, man. You know, these guys refuse to establish those symbiotic relationships. You know what I'm saying, man? Everybody's out for themselves, man, and that's kind of what sucks about, you know, the sport of boxing is, you know, these guys operate independent of each other, and they're going to do what's best for them. But if they were to come together to really try to make the best fights, I think we'd be happy, but some of them would probably go out of business. QT says Barrios looked good in his last fight, but it was against a career 140-pound guy. Yeah, he did. But even outside of that, right, Barrios showed that he was more aggressive, and he was definitely on the front foot a lot more. And I've always said this, and I'll say it again. That guy, man, wasn't it Virgil Hunter? The guy who trained Andre Ward? I call him the Whisperer, man. You know what I'm saying? He was always there whispering to everybody, hey, man, you know, man, nobody want to hear that shit. You know what I'm saying? You in a fight. You got somebody in your ear whispering to you, man. And he's a one-trainer fighter, man. You know what I'm saying? Virgil, I think it's Hunter, right? Virgil Hill was the guy who got knocked out by Roy Jones. But Virgil Hunter, him and what he did with Andre Ward, and Andre Ward, the father did with him before Virgil took over, right? Yo, deserves to be commended. But some trainers are one-fighter trainers. And when Barrios was over there, he probably got a lot of, you know, great philosophies. But all that whispering, you know, I would have been out of there a lot sooner, man. But that being said, he is looking much better now. Seems to be very comfortable at 147, and he's got a trainer that's bringing out that aggressive side of him. And he's naturally a fighter. He's not worried about getting hit. So you got somebody like that who wants to be a lion, let him be a lion. I always say, man, you can't take a lion, try to turn him into a pussycat. You know what I'm saying? These fighters out here want blood. They're carnivores. They want to eat meat. You trying to give them a head of lettuce and a cabbage? Nah, man. Let a lion be a lion. And I think that's what we have with Barrios. But that being said, if he can carry that energy, carry that mentality, right? Carry those things that he's been learning in training camp with this new trainer. If he can bring that into a fight with Ugas, he has a great opportunity to upset the apple cart. I just think Ugas is such a fantastic boxer, and he's a great counterpuncher, and he has great vision, and he has long arms. I just think he runs the risk of getting countered a lot. But the thing is, Earl Spence showed if you have a high work rate, which Mario Barrios throws a lot of shots. If you have a high work rate, you can outwork a guy like Ugas. Then Ugas could be in trouble, okay? And Mario Barrios can. I just don't think he hits as hard as Earl Spence. I don't think he hits as hard as Earl Spence. But at the end of the day, if he can keep up that work rate, Mario Barrios has a really good chance to clip a guy like Ugas. Now, when we look at, okay, what happens if he clips Ugas, right? Let me make this a little bit smaller so y'all can see it, right? So what happens if Barrios clips Ugas? Because it's under the WBC. And this is what sucks about it, right? This is what's absolutely crazy about what the hell's going on. Cody Crowley just fought for a mandatory position to fight Earl Spence. He won that fight. Now you got Ugas and Barrios fighting for a mandatory position to fight for a championship. So what you're going to see happening here, and this is what I think, y'all can tell me if you think I'm wrong, I think the winner of Ugas and Barrios are going to fight Cody Crowley. And then whoever's the winner between Barrios, between those Crowley and whoever wins between Ugas and Barrios, they should be the mandatory to whoever's holding that title. Now, you see, Keith Thurman's been in a holding pattern for so long, I can't see him staying here much longer. But we know the WBC kind of does what they want. But when you look at this rack and stack and this breakdown, at least for that WBC column, you know, they're trying to keep these fighters employed, and obviously they're over there trying to work their magic. But out of all these fighters on this WBC list, you see this number 6, Conor Henn. Let me tell you something. He may be the one to make the most money out of all these guys over the next year, because he's with Eddie Hearn, and Eddie Hearn's out there running that circuit in the Middle East, and Barrios doesn't have that connection. Sissoko doesn't have it. Ugas doesn't have it. Crowley, Thurman. No PBC fighter has that connection. But Conor Benn is going to be out there making $10, $15 million a fight. That's crazy. But we're going to see what happens with the WBC. But when we talk about the guys at 147 pounds, you know, it's kind of frustrating. You know, it's at a point I don't even like talking about it no more, because you just don't know what directions anything's going. But it does sound like Steven Espinoza, I was watching his body language. He knows what's going on with Crawford and Spence. That man can't even hold water, man. When he starts smiling and you see all them damn chiclet teeth of his, man, and he's sitting there saying that he's optimistic it's going to happen, that's because he knows it's going to happen. He just won't tell anybody anything. I think they learned a lesson from last year, where so much information about negotiations got leaked, all the fans got involved, the fight didn't happen, and it left a sour taste in everyone's mouth. But at the point in time where we're at now, no doubt about that, I do feel that fight's going to happen, and it will happen this year. I'm just not sure when they're going to announce it. But at the end of the day, Alexis Rocha under the WBO column, he moved on. He has a fight coming up. Rashidi Ellis, I'm not sure what he's doing, but the rumor is Jerome Boots Ennis could be fighting Rashidi Ellis, could be fighting Roman Villa. No one knows at this point in time. Blair Cobb still has no opponent lined up. Matter of fact, he's still trying to sort things out with Golden Boy, because they didn't want to pay him any money. Golden Boy is investing in Virgil Ortiz Jr. That's where they're putting their money and they're putting their focus. They're not putting it in Blair Cobb. Blair Cobb feels like he's proven himself. He came back from a loss and fought Maurice Hooker, a fight that no one thought he could win, and he knocked him out. So Blair Cobb feels he deserves the same money as what Virgil Ortiz is getting. So it kind of is what it is with Blair Cobb. You come on over to the IBF, you kind of already know what the deal is. Boots Ennis, he's got to take a fight to stay busy, but, once Earl Spence fights whoever he's fighting next, he has 60 days to negotiate a deal with Boots Ennis. So at some point in time, Spence and Boots are going to fight if Spence chooses to stay at 147. Talked about the WBC already, and then the WBA. A great fight that's about to happen in July. Amantis Stanionis and Virgil Ortiz Jr. That is going to be, I think, fight of the year. Now, who do y'all got winning that fight between Stanionis and Virgil Ortiz Jr.? That is really a toss-up fight. Before I was saying, I think Virgil Ortiz Jr. will beat Stanionis. But I'm going to be honest with you now. With this whole thing about rhabdomyolysis and Virgil Ortiz, kidneys and shit going bad and going in the hospital and almost dying 2 different occasions now, I'm not so sure he should even be boxing. That rhabdo is what they call it, right? That's short for rhabdomyolysis. That's life-threatening. And a lot of people who end up succumbing to this illness, when they do go to see the doctor, they need to immediately be put on dialysis. So, yes, you got Stanionis winning. So right now, I truly believe I no longer favor Ortiz in that fight. Because I'm gonna tell you, if it was me going to fight him, I'd be aiming for that liver, for that kidney, man. You know what I'm saying? I'd be aiming for those weak points on his body. And I just don't think his dad should be pushing him no more. Blair DeFlair came out without saying a name, but I did my research after Blair DeFlair said this. He said that a lot of people who suffer from rhabdo, that's a side effect of taking performance enhancement drugs and steroids. So when he said that, I went out there, did my homework. There's a lot of things that can cause it, but that is a side effect of taking performance enhancement drugs. That is a side effect of steroids. So Blair DeFlair Cobb wasn't lying. He was telling the truth. But there's so many other things that can cause rhabdomyolysis. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. But this is boxing. And when you have guys like different athletes from combat sports and in boxing, and when you have a doctor like Usman Sajjad, when they all come out and say 80 to 90% of all boxers are taking some kind of illegal substance, whether it's what's that called when they're trying to rehydrate, man? Not a diuretic. Yeah, to cut weight. Whether they're taking, clomiphene or these other things, they're all taking it. So I wouldn't be surprised if there was something else going on with Ortiz, but there's no proof of it, but I wouldn't be surprised. But I think Stan Eunice has a real good chance to get in there, man, and ruin that Golden Boy empire, man, because Virgil Ortiz is really Oscar De La Hoya's last hope. I mean, Zurdo Ramirez already went down in flames. He's trying to be very careful with Munguia. Ryan Garcia just went down in flames, but I think his profile has grown even more as a result of taking that loss. But bottom line, he took a loss. The only one that Golden Boy has really to hold things down that they're really investing in is Virgil Ortiz, and they don't want to mess with Blair Cobb, which I think is a bad move on their part. Eric Carr said they're playing with weight too much. Yeah, that's ridiculous, man. You're pushing yourself so hard in training that you end up going to the hospital and damaging your kidneys, man. You know what I'm saying? You got having issues with your blood because you work that hard. I'm gonna tell you something. When I did my research, I did videos on this. There are certain universities where the athletes, right, were being worked so hard without breaks. It's like nonstop, continuous workouts, right? Without breaks. Athletes were working so hard that they were falling out and going to the hospital. And a lot of them went there and ended up suffering from this rhabdomyolysis. And a couple of them went into kidney failure and had to go on immediate dialysis. And the coaches at some of these universities were fired for the type of training that they were forcing on the athletes. There was another trainer who was punishing them for not performing in whatever game it was, and his thing was to, smoke them, make them run, make them work, make them do burpees, all that craziness. And some people fell out, had to go to the hospital, developed rhabdo, and his ass was fired too. So yeah, QT, when you said did Ortiz sue Blair for saying he was on roids, yeah. He sued him, and what Blair had to do was come out and apologize so he didn't have to worry about, any financial liabilities and stuff. So he came out and apologized and said there was no proof. But then he came out a few months later when this rhabdo thing came up again. He didn't say a name this time. He just said that it's a side effect of steroids. But we knew what he was implying, but it is what it is. All right, so we've been talking for a while. If y'all got anything y'all want to talk about, we can jump all over the spectrum when it comes to boxing. Talk about anything y'all want to talk about. Just throw it out there, and we'll table it and we'll have a conversation. 818 says, how many athletes from that school caught rhabdo? 2. I can't remember exactly, but I know when I did that video, there were a couple universities, man, that that I had kind of did a review on, and it was I think it was more than two at one of those spots, but I can't remember off the top of my head. But I know there were multiple athletes that ended up going to the hospital, and maybe it may have only been two that required dialysis, but the other ones needed to stay there overnight and to be treated and looked after. But the other ones were in bad shape, man. We're in bad shape from that crap. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy, man. So what y'all think happened with Canelo and John Ryder? And when it comes, so we already talked about Devin Haney. I don't think there's much more that we can say about Devin Haney, man. But Canelo and Ryder, and Canelo and Bivol and Bertabiev, what's really next for Canelo? How much longer can Canelo continue doing this? Like that's my question. How much longer can Canelo keep plugging away? It's crazy. QT says, do I think we get Andre versus Charlo this summer? I wouldn't buy the pay-per-view, but I'd love to see the fight. Yeah, I think we do get Charlo and we get Demetrius Andre. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think we get it because Charlo and Andre talk, and then Charlo really, he's coming back. Not sure who he's fighting yet, but he's got to do something. You know what I'm saying? And Andre can't really get a fight, and so it kind of sucks. 818 says twice, back to back, caught it and then caught it again. Yep, that's crazy. That's absolutely crazy to catch that crap 2 times. Makes you wonder what the hell is going on. But when you look here at the this is the 168-pound division where Canelo is, right? He's a little bit smaller. So, he's floating around there. He's the man at 168. Canelo's about to come down here in the WBO column. He's about to fight Ryder in Mexico, pick up this new WBC belt, which I think Canelo Alvarez beats Ryder. I know people are talking a lot about Ryder because he clipped Daniel Jacobs. But let's be real. This Daniel Jacobs isn't the Daniel Jacobs that knocked out Peter Quillen. You know what I'm saying? This Daniel Jacobs started making that Eddie Hearn money. He started coming out here talking about, I'm making M's. I'm making M's. That shit went to his head. He left Rozier because he's making money and didn't want to pay Rozier more money. He just wanted to keep paying him the same amount that he'd always been paying him. So they fell out. So he goes over, gets a new trainer. The trainer turned a lion into a pussycat, and he's never looked the same. So I give John Ryder credit for beating Daniel Jacobs, but I just don't see him beating Canelo Alvarez. Even this version of Canelo, super flat-footed, just come forward, who still has outstanding defense, but I think Canelo chops him down and knocks him out. But the thing is, look where Demetrius Andre is. He's number 1 for the WBO, right? Isn't that crazy? Then you come over here to the IBF, they don't have him ranked. But look where he is in the WBC. He's number 5. And look where Demetrius Andre is for the WBA. He's ranked number 1. Okay? So Demetrius Andre is in a very precarious position. Now, 818 says Canelo going to ride out his career versus no hopers unless he's forced to earn his money via the gate and pay-per-view. I agree with you. But check out what's going on right here. Now, this is going to get a little tricky because Canelo's fighting Ryder. Then after that, he's supposed to be fighting Bivol, right? And Bivol's coming down to 168, which they're supposed to fight for all of Canelo Alvarez titles. Bivol is going to beat Canelo. Like, Canelo cannot beat Bivol. It's impossible for Canelo Alvarez to beat Bivol. Right? So he just should leave him alone. But I don't know what it is about Canelo, if he just likes the challenge or he just likes getting his ass whipped. He's forcing this fight. It makes me feel that they're going to rob Bivol. They already didn't want Bivol to fight at 175. Like, let me explain something to y'all real quick. They didn't want Bivol to fight, or they still don't want him to fight for the undisputed distinction at 175. The WBC is saying, nope, we don't want him to fight for the WBC title. Something to do with the war in Russia. Absolutely crazy. But at 168, like we've talked about before, he can fight for the WBC title at 168, fighting against Canelo. What I think they want to do is, right, I think they want Bivol, at first Canelo get by Ryder, and for Bivol to come down to 168. Canelo fights him at 168. They rob Bivol, right? And now Bivol has to go back up to 175. But then they sit here now and hold that loss against Bivol. And now Canelo goes up and gets a shot against Beterbiev. And then the whole time you got Benavidez and Morrell, who are supposed to be fighting next. Matter of fact, that guy Samson, or whatever his last name is, he said there's a contract in place already for David Benavidez and David Morrell. So these two fight, somebody will lose, right? And then maybe then they may get an opportunity at some titles if Canelo drops belts and stays at 175. Who knows? But I think they're gonna screw Bivol. I think that's what they're trying to do. Screw Bivol and, build up Canelo. Try to get Canelo to come up now and fight Beterbiev. And then you have Morrell and Benavidez fighting. And who knows what's going to happen by then when it comes to the belts. But one thing I do know is Canelo Alvarez said he wanted to become a billionaire. And he wanted to do it through boxing. He's not there yet, but he's on his way. But I'm just not sure how much money DAZN has. I know they had a contract, and they were paying him big money, which is kind of crazy, especially when you look at the kind of numbers, reportedly that guys like Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia did, and look at the money that their guarantees, and you look at the kind of guarantees Canelo's getting, and his numbers aren't even hitting the mark. So, it is what it is at this point in time when it comes to Canelo Alvarez. But I think he's going to hang around, and as long as he has guys like the WBC, Mauricio Suleiman, and the rest of the secret society, man, kind of looking out for him, I agree. He's going to hang around, man. He's going to keep doing what he has to. But they're not forcing him. They're not forcing him to fight Benavidez. He should be fighting Benavidez. You know what I'm saying? They're not forcing him to fight Morrell. They're making Morrell and Benavidez fight each other. Which, it is what it is. I want to see the fight, but damn. They're babying Canelo. And it is what it is, man. So, what else y'all want to talk about, man? I've been on here for going on 2 hours, so we could talk about anything else. Y'all want to talk about the heavyweights? Y'all, we could talk about anything. Anything y'all want to talk about, man. I have no problem talking about it. I still got about 25 minutes, man. I'll sit here and chat. We can talk about anything. But I think Ryan Garcia deserves more credit than what he's getting, man, because without Ryan Garcia and his little fan base, who knows how that fight would have done pay-per-view wise, you know what I'm saying? Who knows? And for Devin Haney, he's going to have to figure out what he's doing next. Because after he gets through Lomachenko, if he wants to make that big money, he's going to have to fight. He's going to have to fight Tank Davis. I think that's the fight to make anyway. 818 says, no room to walk at 175. Bivol may be the weakest link, and he's piecing Canelo up like a puzzle. Yeah, no doubt about that. I doubt Canelo faces Bivol ever again. The beating is just going to get worse. Absolutely. It makes no sense for that fight to happen. But, he's pushing for it. Eddie Hearn's pushing for it. And I'm just trying to wonder where's the money coming from for that fight. Like, nobody wants to see that. You know what I mean? Like, it's so one-sided. Nobody wants to see it. 818 says, what's up with Bud and Spence? I don't know, man. What I will tell you, I'm going to say this. I see some of these content creators, man, saying that this is what's going on. Let me tell you, nobody knows, man. Nobody knows what's going on with no damn Bud and Spence, All I'll say is I think they're going to fight this year. It just, when you look at, and I'm going to tell you why I think they're going to fight this year. It has nothing to do with what anybody out here is saying. I'm gonna tell you why. Because when you look at this lineup, there's absolutely no activity. There's no activity at 147. You know what I mean? What's going on, Ellis? He says, remember Canelo got the so-called franchise title. He duck who he want. Absolutely. You're right about that. But at 147, there's no activity. And there's a reason why there's no activity. Because Crawford and Spence, obviously, everyone's waiting to see what they're going to do. And let me tell you, they've learned from their experiences last year. But these sanctioning bodies, they went from getting behind Spence and Crawford to Spence and Crawford not fighting to the sanctioning bodies pushing to have all these fights being made across all the different sanctioning bodies, right? To all of a sudden not worrying about forcing Rocha on Crawford and Thurman on Spence anymore. All that deadlines and people being stripped, what happened to that? It all stopped again. So there's a reason why these guys are playing red light, green light, and I'm talking about the sanctioning bodies. It's because there is something going on behind the scenes we're not privy to because they refuse to disclose it to us. But I'm not going off of what no one else is saying. I'm going off me being, hey, what's going on, Jay Reddy? Just me being a common sense man. You can't tell me that the 147-pound division is on pause because these fighters like to be inactive. No way in the world, man. But they need to come up with something sooner than later. Hell, I was even sitting here the other day saying I wouldn't be surprised if Crawford and Spence ended up out there in the damn Middle East. I don't know. I'm just saying, if it really boils down to money, because that's been the consistent theme across all the different people who did interviews, like the Espinosas and some of the trainers, and even Bob Arum talked about it when they were asking Bob Arum, why didn't you make the fight with Crawford and Spence? He was like, they were asking him, they're like, is it as being on the wrong side of the street thing? And Bob Arum came out and he said, Bob Arum shut that down with the quickness. And I was surprised. He said, it has nothing to do with the wrong side of the street. Bob Arum says, both of the fighters feel that the fight is a fight that's should be worth $40 million apiece, right? And Bob Arum said they have every right to feel that they should be making $40, $50 million apiece. He was like, I think they deserve that kind of money. He was like, but it's just not there. He's like, promoters don't get into the business to lose money. He's like, the type of money that they think the fight's worth, he's like, it's just not there. And he said that's the reason why the fight didn't happen. It wasn't Crawford's fault. It wasn't Spence's fault necessarily. It's just they had unrealistic financial expectations. So what that tells you is Top Rank and the PBC were probably trying to hit him with that, what I call paying pay-per-view fighters on a curb, trying to hit them with the $2 million guarantees, and now we can look at the pay-per-view split, the live gate split, to try to bubble up your take-home money, and they weren't going for that. So it is what it is. But at this point in time, Bultiev, he's another one. Bultiev is in a holding pattern. He fought Stanley Eunice, not even just now, like early last year. Bultiev don't have anything going on. You know what I'm saying? And when you come back here looking at these names like we were just talking about, hey, it's a lot. There's a lot of guys that are just in holding patterns. You know what I mean? Even my boy, I love watching him fight, man. Kavaliauskas, man. I think they call him Mean Machine, right? That guy is a problem. He's ranked number 7 by the WBC. He is a problem. Even he's not out here getting busy right now. You know what I'm saying? So kind of is what it is. Cool Breeze says, I'll just wait on an announcement. Yeah, that's all we can do, man. Because right now, these boys got this damn 147 pound weight division. They got it on lock. You know what I'm saying? QT says PBC got 6 of the 10 guys there. So no one can fight even if they wanted to. Who would an outsider fighter even fight? I don't know, man. When you look at it, 147 pounders, I honestly don't know. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy, man. Even when you look at some of these names, I'm gonna be honest with you. I recognize a lot of them, but some of these guys, man, I'd have to go to YouTube to type in their names to see who they fought last and how they performed. I don't know all these names, but what I can tell you is I know for a fact a lot of them aren't fighting. And that's horrible, man. Sitting around here getting these inactivity barnacles growing on them, and that's just not how it should be. These guys should be fighting at least 3 times a year. That's really the sweet spot for these boxers who are in their prime. They should all be fighting 3 times a year. But it is what it is at this point in time. So yeah, that's the latest and greatest on those Spence and Crawford, man. I do believe that fight's going to happen. But once we get that announcement, it's definitely going to be on. Not sure what happened, man. That's why when it comes to these guys talking about pay-per-view numbers and stuff like that, and the stuff that gets put out on Twitter, man, I don't really buy into that. I just learned my lesson from going with it's reported or there's a rumor or somebody heard. Man, until the cable network comes out or the Showtime reps or Espinosa or somebody come out and they actually say it, I take everything with a grain of salt. Same thing with the fight announcements for Spence and Crawford. I'm sure there's some kind of conversations taking place, but when people come out and say rumored for 17 June, I just don't even get caught up in that no more, man. I learned my lesson from all that. We just have to wait and see when Spence says something or Crawford says something, and then I'll invest into that. But that being said, man, what else y'all want to talk about before I jump off of here, man? I got about 15 more minutes, and then I'm a bounce. Get ready for tomorrow. I got to go exercise in the morning. What else y'all want to talk about? If we get another good topic going, man, we could talk. Shit, I'll talk another 30 minutes. Let me see what I got here, man. See if there's anything else I want to throw out at y'all. Rolly Romero, man. Rolly Romero about to get himself a belt, isn't he? Okay. Anything else y'all want to talk about while we're still on here? We could talk about anything, man. Hey, check this out. So Espinosa, he just came out and said something about those pay-per-view numbers. Espinosa said, what did I say about numbers? He's like, I can't prevent others involved in the promotion from saying what they know. So Espinosa's coming out, and what he's saying is he didn't say anything about any pay-per-view numbers. Let me see if I can show y'all this real quick. Right here. He replied to this guy here. He said, what did I say about numbers? I can't prevent others involved in the promotion from saying what they know. So that looked to me like Espinosa's like, hey, don't put my name involved in anything. You see, that's what we were just talking about. Stephen Espinosa's like, look, somebody else wants to say something, they can say what they want. I'm not getting involved, and I'm not saying if they're right or if they're wrong. You know what I'm saying? All right, y'all got anything else y'all want to talk about, man? You know your boy Deontay Wilder is back. I don't know if y'all seen Deontay Wilder out here training, man. He's looking pretty damn good. But he's supposed to be fighting in the summer. I'm not sure who he's going to be fighting against, but Deontay Wilder's supposed to be fighting in the summer, which is I think good news for us, man. But y'all got anything else y'all want to talk about before I jump off of this live? Oh my God, man. I'll give y'all a couple minutes, man. It may be a little lag when y'all typing. Oh, QT right here. Espinosa had to distance himself from the numbers. Hell yeah. Because it's all bull crap, man. All these people coming out here talking about all this money and stuff, man, it's crazy, man. Absolutely crazy. Y'all know your boy is back, don't you? Let me see if I can mute this for you. Deontay Wilder's out here getting busy. Now, he looks like he's getting better, man. Watch his little 1-2. You know, he looks, that little 1-2 looking sharp, man. But, Deontay Wilder. All right, man, that's it, man. Y'all got anything else y'all want to talk about? If not, I'm gonna jump off of here in about a minute, man. But that shit is hilarious. Appreciate y'all coming on. If y'all don't have anything else, I'm gonna jump off here, man. I gotta get up early and get these kids ready and head to school. I give it about 30 more seconds and I'm gonna jump off of here, man. Appreciate y'all, man. Appreciate the talk and the 2 hours of discussion. I really appreciate it. I'll give y'all a couple seconds, see if y'all throw something else out here. And we'll take it from there. All right. I'm going to go ahead and end the live, man. Y'all keep cool. Eat something good. I'll be back on tomorrow, probably during the day. We can chat a little bit, man. Y'all keep cool, man.